Hey, I'm Keo, a time traveler. I've explored Rome's greatest emperors and how they shaped civilization. But today, I'm witnessing a timeline where two empires almost merged into one. It's 31 BC. Mark Antony and Cleopatra face Octavian in a final battle. But what if they won? What if the Roman general and Egyptian pharaoh defeated Octavian and united their empires? I've arrived in this alternate timeline, standing in a world where East and West merged centuries before they actually did. Rome and Egypt didn't become rivals, they became partners. Mark Antony rules as emperor of a unified Roman-Egyptian empire, with Cleopatra as his co-ruler. The two greatest civilizations of the ancient world are now one. The consequences are staggering. Without Octavian taking power, there's no Augustus, no foundation for the empire as we know it. Instead, this hybrid civilization develops differently. Roman military might combines with Egyptian wealth and ancient knowledge. The empire becomes even more powerful, even more expansive. But here's what's fascinating: the culture shifts too. Greek, Roman, and Egyptian traditions blend together from the start. Art, architecture, religion, philosophy, they all merge into something entirely new. Imagine Roman aqueducts adorned with Egyptian hieroglyphs, or temples dedicated to a pantheon blending Jupiter with Ra. Alexandria becomes the true center of power. Not Rome. Its libraries, already legendary, now house the combined knowledge of two vast civilizations, fostering unprecedented advancements in science and engineering. The Mediterranean becomes a unified Egyptian-Roman lake. Trade explodes. Without the typical Roman-Egyptian rivalry, commerce flows freely between East and West. Silk roads develop differently. Asian trade reaches Europe faster. Indian spices, Chinese goods, Persian culture, they all integrate into this unified empire much earlier than history allowed. However, I'm discovering something darker. This unified empire becomes too powerful, too dominant. Without competition from other powers, it grows arrogant. There's no check on its expansion. It consumes everything in its path. Smaller kingdoms and tribes have no chance against this combined force. The Pax Romana, in this timeline, is a Pax Egypto-Romana, enforced with an iron fist and a chilling lack of mercy for those who resist. The sheer scale of its military and economic might stifles innovation outside its borders, creating a stagnant world where one power reigns supreme. And there's internal tension I didn't expect. Rome and Egypt have different values, different traditions. Cleopatra represents the ancient world mysticism, divine kingship, timeless wisdom. Mark Antony represents the new world military conquest, pragmatism, expansion. Keeping these two forces balanced creates constant friction. The Roman Senate, accustomed to its power, chafes under the influence of Egyptian priests and pharaonic decrees. Rebellions, often fueled by cultural clashes rather than political ambition, simmer beneath the surface, threatening to tear the empire apart from within. The very strength of their union becomes its greatest weakness, a constant tug-of-war between two fundamentally different worldviews. I'm realizing something crucial. History needed their defeat. Octavian's victory created the stable Roman Empire that lasted for centuries. Cleopatra and Mark Antony's union would have created something unstable, beautiful, powerful, but ultimately destined to collapse under its own contradictions. As I stand in this timeline, where two empires merged, I see a world that looks glorious on the surface, but is fragile underneath. The grand monuments and bustling markets hide a deep-seated instability, a constant struggle for identity and control. Sometimes, history's tragic moments are necessary. Sometimes the victor we curse for their brutality was actually preserving something essential. But I also see something else: glimpses of what could have been. A world where East and West understood each other centuries earlier, where ancient wisdom and Roman innovation worked together, where Cleopatra's Egypt never faded into obscurity, but instead flourished as a co-equal power. This timeline shows me that history isn't just about winners and losers. It's about the paths we didn't take, the potential we never realized, and the sacrifices that shaped our world. It's a reminder that even in triumph, there can be hidden costs, and sometimes, the greatest lessons are learned from what almost was. Thank you for watching, and follow for more.